Hello, everyone. I'm Mariela Condorena. Welcome to today's webinar. Today, we have our 10th webinar, and I'm so happy to be here again with you. Welcome, English teachers in Peru and teachers around the world to our ELT Tech English Language Teaching and Technology Summer Webinars. Before starting, I'd like to invite you to follow us on our network. Remember that we have our Facebook, WhatsApp, Telegram, YouTube, and TikTok. Okay, join us, dear teachers. Okay, now we have to consider some instructions in order to participate in today's webinar. Please type your questions in the comment section. The answer to your questions and comments will be replied by our guest speaker at the end of the webinar in the question time section. And about the exit ticket. When finishing the webinar, we will share a link for you to have access to the exit ticket, which will be available for 15 minutes. Now it's time to know our guest speaker. Teacher David Cuadras, good afternoon. Could you introduce her, please?
Good afternoon, English teachers in Peru. Today, we are going to learn about brain breaks and games to keep the class moving with Miss Fanest Coronado, who is licenciada de idiomas extranjeros en la Universidad del Atlántico, Colombia, grado de magíster en neuropsicología y educación otorgado por la Universidad Internacional de La Rioja, UNIR, España, con estudios de formación profesional continuos en the Bilingual Brain University of Houston y TESOL Certificate emitido por la Universidad de Arizona. Actualmente labora como docente de inglés en la unidad educativa Torremolinos en Guayaquil, con 12 años de experiencia en el campo de la enseñanza bilingüe, apasionada por aprender, también ayuda a desarrollar y experimentar estrategias de enseñanza desde la neurociencia. Bienvenida, maestra Fanest Coronado.
Thank you, David. Good evening to all of you. Can you hear me?
Of course, yes, dear Fanest, you can start.
Okay, so a warm welcome of all of you. It's a pleasure for me to be in this webinar, sharing this important topic as is neuroscience, bilingualism, and how the brain breaks can help you to improve your classes and can help you to design different strategies in order that help students in their classes. So for today, this topic, I'm going to share my screen now. Let me know if you can see. Okay, thank you for the presentation too. As I told you before, it's a pleasure for me to present this topic, okay, that is called brain breaks and games to keep the class moving. Okay, I'm going to start this webinar with this phrase, this quote here that say, we cannot continue teaching each new generation of children like the previous one. This quote is really important nowadays because you know that we have been of this pandemic period, and the pandemic, the lockdowns, the isolation, and this situation have changed our mindset, and not only our mindset, but children mindset. So it is important to create new strategies and have empathy with these students who come with different situations that they have experienced in their homes during all this time. So for this reason, it is important to repeat this quote of here. So we cannot continue teaching each new generation of children like the previous one, because in this moment we are changing the period of time. Now we have another time with different students with different mindsets. So here I'm going to show you this 3-to-1 reflection. Okay, this 3-to-1 reflection is an exercise before starting all the content that I'm going to share with you. I would like that you take a piece of paper, if you have piece of paper, or if you have your phone, or you can, if you are in a laptop, you can open a document and write this 3-to-1 reflection. It refers to 3 new things, or you are going to write 3 new things you learned in this webinar. So you have to be alert all the time in order that catch this information that you like the most and that you consider that is innovative for you. So 3 new things you learn in this webinar, 2 interesting things you will continue learning after this webinar, and 1 innovative thing you will change in your class according to the information shared today. Because remember that when we have new information, when we learn something, it's important that we apply it to give more sense to what we learn. So before starting, I would like to share with you this question. Okay, this question that you could respond through the, okay, you can scan this QR code and answer this question. What skills make a successful teacher after COVID-19? As I told you before, we as a teacher now, we are going to face new students with new ways of thinking. Something have changed in every mind that we are going to face now in this new period after pandemic, isolation, and all the situation that we have lived before. So I don't know if you can scan this QR code. If don't, I'm going to share with you. You can enter to this. You can copy this www.menti.com and write the code that you see here, 52770335. This is in order to answer this question. I'm going to share another screen. Only 1 second, please. Okay, I'm going to present your answers here. Okay, here I have empathy, love, creative, communication, gamification, emotional support, happy person, hopeful. Exactly. Good. So I have read here. I can read here. Can read here. Preparing. For some reason, I can open more this. I don't know why, but I can see here that the most frequent word was creative, innovative, empathy, love, creative, excellent. Yes, these are definitely the skills that makes a successful teacher after COVID-19, because we have experienced different situations now. We have to exactly, yes, take this empathy with our students, open this space in which they can experience this, talk about their situations too. Okay, good, excellent. As we can see here, we have more empathy. Love is still frequent here. Creative use of technology. Yes, because we are going to continue using technology even if we are in the face-to-face classes. Okay. Okay, so now we are going to continue with our content. Okay, great. So here I have some key concepts that I would like that you know before present all the content about brain breaks. Okay, so you should know about these key concepts in order to understand more what is the importance of this information. Okay, so let's start with brain-based learning. Okay, remember that these strategies are focused on the brain on neuroscience. So brain-based learning is engagement of strategies based on principles of how the brain learns. So one way in which you can fix this in your memory is learn or memorize these words. ESP, you can associate this ESP with Spain, España, okay? And remember, what is brain-based learning? Engagement of strategies based on principles, principles of how the brain learns. I mean neuroscience, okay? So another concept that we have here that is frequently mentioned in or investigated in neuroscience is executive functions. Executive functions. So executive functions make possible mentally playing with ideas, okay? And it is important that you know that when we are learning complex content, for example, we need some process. It's not only that you are going to show a content and the brain immediately process the information and that's immediately go to the memory. No, it has a process. Okay, so executive function And the stimulation of executive functions allows that we can play with ideas mentally, okay? And take the time to think before acting. This is another function, and resist temptation and staying focused. So when we do activities every time in our class, we have to take into consideration that the executive functions follow a process. So the executive functions are working memory, inhibitory control, and cognitive flexibility. So one great news for English teachers are that bilingualism enhance a high level of cognitive functions per se. I mean that the students students who learn a second language, they are mentally exercise their brain. They are exercising their brain. So that is a real good advantage for bilingualism. So that is really vital that we as an English teacher know this information, because that enhances our practice in the class. So we are aware that we are not only teaching a second language, but we are stimulating the brain in a better way. Okay, another concepts that we have to know about brain-based learning is that we have 3 types of working memory. Remember that when I show you here the executive function, one of them are working memory. So I'm going to be a little deep about the 3 types of working memory, because as a teacher, we have to know that the information is perceived first by the sensory memory. I mean that we receive all the information from the external information through the sense. So we take information from our environment, and it goes in the sensory memory. So the time that the information remains here is really short. So I'm talking about 3 seconds until 10 seconds. So we have information that we receive information through our ears, through our here, the side. Okay, so it lasts only from 3 to 10 seconds. So then it remains, or it goes to the short-term memory, but it only happens if this short-term memory is stimulated with emotion. Okay, how can I connect the information that I'm showing you to my students, or the information or the content that I'm showing to the students, and it connects with what is the emotion that that is in the moment. What is the emotion that I'm presenting to the students in that moment? That's why some students sometimes think that I like to work with this. I like this teacher, or I like this other teacher, because I think that I learn more with this. That is the connection that we have with emotions, content, emotions, and the connection that we have with the students. So that's the reason why sometimes students say that they feel bored with one teacher and they feel happy with another, because it's the connection that we have to try to encourage in this moment of when we are presenting a content. So the experience is important too, in order to that information goes to the long-term memory. And this long-term memory is stimulated by the repetition of the information, but with from different sense. For example, in an English class, if you are teaching vocabulary, for example, you not only present the vocabulary in a piece of paper or in the book or from the book, so you can present the information in a song, or you can do role play. So these are the more sources you use to connect with the information, longer the information is going to remain in long-term memory. So it is the information is the long-term memory, is stimulated by the repetition, by the experience, and if it was stick in the short memory with emotions. Okay, so I have this. Sorry.
Estimados maestros, mientras esperamos unos minutitos que se solucionen algunos problemas técnicos con la señal de Mrs. Coronado, vamos a recordar que para el día de mañana, todos los maestros, aprovechando estos minutitos, mientras estamos tratando de solucionar la problemática con la tecnología que a veces siempre se da y hay que lidiar con ella, les recordamos que este es ya nuestro webinar número 10, que para toda esta serie de webinars hemos programado un total de 12 webinars. El día de mañana tenemos a Patricia Arbona desde Argentina con un excelente webinar que no se lo pueden perder, nuestro 11º webinar. Y la próxima semana ya estamos cerrando todo este ciclo de webinars que han sido 12 sesiones con ponentes, con excelentes topics que hemos podido tocar y seguramente aprender mucho de ello también. Así que por favor, no pueden faltar a ninguna de estas sesiones. Recuerden que en cada sesión compartimos el exit ticket, el registro de asistencia, Y con el registro de asistencia, pues es posible que nosotros podamos obtener sus datos y enviarles el material a cada uno de ustedes, ¿no? A su correo electrónico. Me confirma Mr. Ortega, ya se ha enviado el material de la semana pasada, del día viernes y sábado. El día viernes que estuvieron con nosotros Michael Navarro, se ha enviado el material y del día sábado el material que la psicóloga nos dejó para este retorno a clases. Qué bueno volverte a ver, querida Fanest. Ahora sí, te doy la posta para que puedas continuar con la exposición.
Thank you. Okay, so continuing with this webinar. Sorry for the interruption. You know how is the technology? Okay. Okay. I would like. I love this picture because this picture shows the important role, or aware the important role that we have as a teacher. Because if you can read here, 700 new neural connections happen every second in the student's mind or in the student's brain. So as you can see in this picture, we have here the neurons in a newborn, then 6 months later, and look at this, what happened at 2 years. Millions and millions of connections, and read what says here, every second. So the role of a teacher in a class, or in an English, in a class in general, or in an English class, is important because students, or we as a human being, we don't learn only when we go to the school. We learn from all our life. So in this order of ideas, it shows that the important role that a teacher has in a classroom. So this is what I talked before about the 3 types of working memory. And now this is something important, or something that we talk a lot in the brain-based learning, or in neuroscience, or neuroeducation, as you can call. So the neuroplasticity. As I told you in the last slide, in the previous slide, that we don't learn only when we go to the school or when we go to the university, but we learn during the whole life. And neuroplasticity is so essential in our life because it's the brain ability to adapt and learn new things. Now you ask why you have a happy face there and a sad face here. That's because sorry. That's because neuroplasticity has 2 sides, negative neuroplasticity, and we have positive neuroplasticity. So why? Because the brain adapt to and learn new things. Is the ability, as I told you, is the ability to adapt and learn new things. And it depends on our habits that we can learn good habits or bad habits, and that is the importance to continue learning positive things during our life. So the determinants of learning that we have here are the level of difficulty. It depends of the difficulty of a task, that if we can handle a task or no. what is the prior experience. So it is important to know that the background in a topic is important. We as a teacher know that, but we don't have to forget. It is important that we take into consideration what is the prior experience that the students have with this content that I'm presenting them. So the motivation in this part, I always mention Francisco Mora. He is a neuroscientist who said that solo se aprende aquello que se ama. So it is the motivation that we have in our in the presentation of the content. What is the motivation of students to learn what I'm teaching? He's going to or they are going to present to the final at the end of the school year. They are going to present something, or they are going to. What is the motivation to to learn what I'm teaching? If we really use what we are teaching or what we are learning in the student side. So there is it needs to be it needs to have a motivation. Okay, so the feedback is important nowadays because we have to differentiate between qualification and evaluation. Students after pandemic, after isolation, need feedback in evaluate process, because students are not numbers. And I know that you are aware of that. Students are not numbers, and we have to evaluate the process. For example, for instance, if they have accomplished a task, I'm really proud of how you handle or how you afford to finish this activity. Or if the student can reach the goal, you can say, I know that you couldn't do it in this opportunity, but I'm really sure that if you practice more, you are going to reach the goal. And this is the feedback that our students need in this moment after pandemic. Okay, it's not only okay, you did a good job, you got 10. So it is not the point. Okay, so in human variability, we have to take this into consideration, that the students have different environments, and now after pandemic too, they have experienced different situation in their homes, and we have to have this empathy that you mentioned when I asked about what are these skills that a successful teacher need to have in after COVID-19. So something important here in this theory of brain-based learning is the critical periods. So it is mentioned that there are critical periods for some learning in some period of our life. So there's no evidence of we have critical periods to learn, for example, second language. So, but there it exists evidence that we have critical periods, for example, for sense perception. That is in a moment in our life that we have to stimulate the sense perception. If you don't, or in this case, the sight. If we don't stimulate our sight in a period in the first years of our life, it is not gonna be works properly. So the same is for gross motor skills like walk and for first language. So there is an experiment of in psychology, there is an experiment of a student, sorry, of a child who lived almost 10 or 12 years. I don't remember, sorry. I don't remember. But he lived 12 years without mention a word, without use his language, and he lost this ability to communicate because this ability was not stimulated. So there is evidence for that, but it's not evidence, and it is a good news for we as a English teacher that there is no evidence that we as a human being we don't have critical period for learning a second language. We can learn a second language in any time of our life, but what happened is that the more we if we start older, we are not going to have the accent. This is the only critical period that we have. For example, a baby until 6 months, they can catch the accent of any language, even the Mandarin. They have different tones. A 6-month baby can catch this, and it is something that we, as an adults, we can do. We can perceive that sounds. Only 6-month babies can do it. So, for this reason, the more earlier the children start learning a language, it is the better they are going to have the pronunciation, the real pronunciation. Okay. So this is the theory of critical periods, that we have any time, only a moment in our life that we can learn. That is not true. There is no evidence about that. We learn during our whole life. So here I have some data about bilingualism and brain. So you can read here, bilingual have to switch language quite often, and it strengthens the cognitive flexibility. This is what I told you before. The learning of a second language is a brain exercise per se. So another data here is that bilingual individual's brain has 2 active systems that work simultaneously without hindering the performance of the other. It means that when you have students in class, and you know that in the Spanish class they are teaching, for example, the alphabet, they are learning the alphabet. They learn the alphabet in a different, or the sounds of the letters in a different way as we as an English teachers do. So there are what we have to know is that there's no problem in the way in which, for example, the English teacher is teaching. Sorry, the Spanish teacher is teaching the alphabet like that, and I have to start with the same letter, or I have to start with the same sound. No, it is not. There is no problem about that, because the brain has 2 active language systems that work simultaneously without hindering, without blocking the performance of the other. So there is no problem. They can learn different language with different teachers, and learning one topic and another, and it is not gonna be a problem for them. So another data here is that learning a second language is a mental exercise. This is what I have repeated during the whole webinar so far. So it improves cognitive skills and fights against dementia. So that is, it is known that after COVID-19, some people experience some problems with their memory, or problems with probably that they feel confused when they are in a with information. So the learning of a second language help with the cognitive reserve. It means that it is going to last more. We are going to reach this stage, but later we are not going to if we tend to have this situation of dementia in our lives, if you learn a second language and this language is active in your brain, it is going to help with fights against dementia, or if you forget things. Okay, so these are important information and data about bilingualism. The advantages for the brain and to have a second language, or to be active in a second language. So here we have some tips to improve from neuroscience. So here we have this picture, means that we have to be a goal. Okay, every time we know, we as a teachers, we know about goals, because every time we design a class, we try to reach a goal. We first design the goals, so the objective of our classes, but it is important always keep in mind these goals. So here we have focus. Okay, and nowadays there is an ability that we have to continue stimulating every time, because now we have lots of information everywhere. We are bombarded with information from all the sources, and if you have a goal in your life, or if you have a goal in your class, you have to be focused and don't allow another information or another situation to avoid focus on your goals. This is one of the abilities that we have to stimulate nowadays. So here, another tips to improve is, okay, this picture here show a person sleeping in the background. So it is important, a person sleeping in the background, and watch here. It means that sleeping is important to consolidate memories. So there is a phrase that I liked the most, that says that sleep sleep for attention and dream for consolidate memories. So if you learn that, if you take into consideration the importance of sleeping for our learning process, not only for our learning process as a teacher, because we have to learn during the whole life, but for our students, if we have teenagers, for example, we have to talk with them about the importance of sleep well, because you know that now with the technology, with the cell phone and all the social medias, they sleep really late at night, and that is not good for our brain. And less if we are in the learning process, if we are in a school year, or we are learning in the time of exams, for example, is when we have to rest more. So here, this brain exercising means yes, that we have to exercise that abilities that we have, the cognitive skills, the working memory, all the executive functions we have to train, because we can do that. And in this part of the exercising is where brain breaks help our students to learn better. So that is something that I'm going to show you later. So here, this tomato here shows a Pomodoro technique. This is a technique in which we divide the periods in the time when we are learning a content. And we as a teacher know that, but it is important that we help students with this information and teach them to learn. Because we said we always say in the class, students, okay, you have to learn that, you have to learn this, you have to learn those, and we don't have the time. I'm not gonna say all of us, but we don't have the time to teach you how to learn. And it is important that you take into consideration that we have to help them with techniques that they can use when they are going to learn for an exam. For example, the Pomodoro technique, that you divide your period of study in short periods of time. For example, you take 1 hour in a day for study any topic. So you take 25 minutes to study, and you have 5 minutes to pause or to do a break, and you continue 25 minutes then, and you have to pause for 5 minutes again. So it is important that we take periods, because it allows to the brain to take time to process the information. Okay, but it is most effective if you study for periods of time, that you studied the whole content in 1 day. And it is even worse if you study before the day that you have the exam or something like that, exam or the evaluation. So this is something that we have to be aware, and aware students to do, to learn these kinds of techniques. Okay, I'm going to remind the 3, 2, 1 reflection. Do you have your 3 new things that you learned in this webinar? That you have already the 3 new things? The 2 interesting things? all the innovative thing that you are going to change in your class. Okay, I'm going to remind this because in the second part of this webinar, I'm going to show what are the brain breaks, and it is important that you take notes if you want. If you like the information, you take notes and you apply something that some things that we are going to learn here. Okay, so let's practice. Let's practice what we are going to learn today. So look at this word that we have here. The word is abre. Abre, no? Abre. Okay, so if you take this word, you read this word, and A is for activa tus emociones, B, balancea tu energía, R, relaja tu mente, and E, entra en conciencia. So here we have an exercise that you can practice from the place that you are, if you want. So you have to put your hands like this, as you see in the picture, and you have to move this. You see, you move this hand back, and you have this hand in front, and you have to move like this. Okay? You try to do this. When you control the movement, you are going to do faster. Okay, this is a brain break. Okay, and it stimulates regions of your brain to energize the learning process. You know, are you trying? Let me see if I can see the chat here, if you are trying this exercise. Okay, let me see if I can see if you are trying. Are you trying the exercise? Okay, very good, great. Yes, it is not easy. It is not easy. The exercise is not easy, but we can control the movement. You can do first slowly, and then you can regulate the speed. Good. Excellent. So you are going to learn more if you stay here in this webinar. Okay, let's continue. Exactly. Once you control the movement, you can do it faster. Yes, you are right, Julio Solorzano. Yes, very good. Okay, excellent. If you are trying this exercise now, I'm going to show you more about brain breaks. So, remember the word ABRE. Activa tus emociones, balancea tu energía, relaja tu mente y entra en conciencia. Okay, but you stop what you are doing, you do this exercise and you, okay, I remember that I'm doing that and what is the objective of this class, okay, and it regulates these thoughts in your mind. Now, what is a brain breaks? What is that? Okay, brain breaks are mental breaks designed to help students stay focused and attend. So it helps carry blood and oxygen to the brain. You know that we as a teacher, we know that we can have a student in front of us and you suddenly see that the one student is yawning and another student is in front of us is still looking our face, and but you know that they are not there. They are Mars, they are in Jupiter, they are in another planet, but they are not there. And it is the moment that you have to read these signals, and it is the moment to do a brain breaks. Because remember that this carry blood and oxygen to the brain, these signals means that the student has, the level of attention of the student have low. And when you do a brain break, the level of attention up again, okay? So there are exercises to energize or relax and help to solidify their learning. Okay, what are the benefits? Why do I have to get involved with brain breaks or do brain breaks in the class? Okay, well-timed break can increase productivity. That is something that we need in our class. Creativity, that is something that we have to stimulate now more than ever, and social skills. Okay, look at this or read this again or listen again. Social skills. Why social skills? Because we have we come from a pandemic, we come from isolation, and the students were learning from their house, and they need to improve their social skills now more than ever. And you can see that what is the importance of brain breaks now. So 2012 study reveals that brain is in default mode when we take breaks. That means that when, for example, you are taking a breathing exercise in the class, the students are quiet, the students are calm down, but the brain is still working because you don't need to move. Not only when you do a movement or when you are reading, you are your brain is being active. No, it is in this study shows or reveals that the brain is in this mode, default mode. This is in Spanish is I don't remember. Okay, when I remember, I'm going to say the what is the word in Spanish? Default mode. Okay, when I remember, I will say. Okay. Okay, I'm back again. Okay, so brain breaks making sense or help making sense of complex information. If you know that you are going to present to your students, you are going to present complex information or a content that you know that is difficult or is hard to handle for them, hard to learn, you can design your class in order to have 2 or 3 brain breaks during the class, okay? Because you know now that a brain break help you as a teacher to help the students to manage complex information, consolidating memories and finding novel connections. Okay, here I have one. Let's start with one brain break here. You can, according to your class, you can. It depends of the topic that you are teaching. You can say. Could be that you are teaching about food, or you are teaching about about nutrition. Okay, you can do a brain break there. You do a pause in the class and you say, okay, now we are going to do an exercise. Take a piece of paper, please, and draw a pizza with your dominant hand. And in the other side of the paper, you are going to draw a pizza with your non-dominant hand. So you can do it with time. It is better. You can set an alarm in YouTube. There are lots of tools there. There are lots of video, or you can you can have a stopwatch and do it with time. You can say, okay, I'm going to give you 2 minutes to draw a pizza with your dominant hand, and in one piece of the, in one side of the paper and the other side of a paper, draw a pizza with your non-dominant hand. Okay, so it allows you to connect both hemispheres of the brain. And you can still continue with your class after this brain break. It is going to take, could be 6-7 minutes to do. Okay, so this brain break is a break for relax. Okay, remember that we have for energize, brain breaks for energize, or brain break for relax. So, and this this way of breathe is called the 5-3-3 breath, and it allows, or it yes, allows the condition of our brain to start studying, open our mind, or give us the state that to say to our brain, okay, here is going to happen something. Okay, I'm going to I know that I'm going to learn something because I'm entered to this state of mind. This state of mind is called alpha state of mind, okay? So you have to close your eyes. You can do with me if you want, okay? You close your eyes, okay? Close your eyes, okay? Straight upright position, okay? You have to straight, if you are sit down, or if you are stand up, if you are on your feet, you can upright your position, okay? Get straight, because the brain knows when we are, what is the position of our brain. This is called the proprioception of our of our that is called proprioception in our brain. The brain controls the position of our body, and the brain knows when we are in this position, when we have the shoulders down, and we start to get in position that we are bored, we down our shoulders, but for this brain break or for this exercise, breath exercise, you have to have your shoulders, okay, straight position. So you are going to inhale in 5 times. Inhale in 5 times, okay, as an elevator. Okay, I'm going to show you first, and you are going to do later. Okay, so you inhale like that in 5 times, and you hold your breath for 3 seconds. Okay, you hold your breath for 3 seconds. It means that all the air that you inhale, you are going to hold 3 seconds, and then when you count it 3 seconds, you exhale in 3 times. Okay, so let's do it. Inhale in 5 times. Hold 3 times, 3 seconds. Then exhales. Okay, so you can repeat this breath 3 times with your students, and the brain is going to relax and start in better conditions to learn. Okay, do you like it? Do you like it? Okay. Excellent, excellent. Okay, remember that it's easy to remember 5-3-3 breathe. Okay, 5-3-3 breathe. So 5 as an elevator, you hold your breath 3 seconds, and 3 in 3 times as an elevator again. 5-3-3 breathe. Okay, okay. I hope that you enjoy. Yes, remember to do it 3 times with your students. So here I have the brain break human rock paper scissors. Okay, this is for energize. When you see that the tension is going to is low, it's getting low in your class, you can do this brain break. This is for energize. So let me show you. I'm going to show you a video for you to understand better. Okay, can you see the video?
Yes, we can see.
Okay, good.
There's no audio, Fanest.
Oh, sorry.
I can hear.
Okay, let me see here to share the audio. Okay, for some reason I can activate the audio of this video.
If you want, you can try to share again. And there is an option in the Zoom settings that says with audio.
Yes, I activated that button, but I don't know. Let me see. Let me share again. Okay, now you can listen.
No.
Now you
There's
listen?
no, there's no audio.
Oh.
Or if you want, you can share the link with us. Maybe we can try to share with you.
Oh, yes. Yes, this is what I'm going to do. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, that's the link.
Okay, got it. Please wait.
Okay, wait a moment, please. Okay, while they're sharing, let me explain that this is the same paper, rock, scissors, but using our body, okay? Every member of the group, or you divide the group. Okay, great.
al piedra, papel o tijera, pero tiene dos particularidades. La primera es que vamos a jugar en equipo, no de manera individual. Y la segunda es que vamos a trabajar el piedra, papel y tijera con todo el cuerpo. ¿Bien? Entonces, vamos a dividirnos en dos grupos de 4. Dos grupos de 4 personas. Ustedes rápidamente tienen que ponerse de acuerdo con sus compañeros qué van a hacer. Si piedra, papel o tijera. Y cuando yo diga 3, 2, 1, ya, ustedes van a hacer piedra, papel o tijera. ¿Bien? Y lo tienen que hacer juntos, porque son un equipo.
Bien.
Y así vamos a ver qué hace el equipo al frente y vamos a ver quién gana esa ronda. Vamos a hacer al mejor de 5 rondas. Entonces, ¿quieren que practiquemos una vuelta todos juntos? ¿Cuáles son las 3? Piedra, papel, tijera. El mejor de 5 gana. ¿Están listos? Sí. Bueno, pónganse de acuerdo con sus compañeros. Pueden hacer esta primera ronda. Rapidito, rapidito nomás. No vamos a dar mucho tiempo. ¿Listos? 3, 2, 1, ya. Papel gana piedra. 1-0. Vamos, segunda ronda. Vamos, rapidito, rapidito. ¿Listos? 3, 2, 1, ya. ¡Ah! Empatado. Seguimos. Tercera ronda. Vamos, vamos. ¿Listos? 3, 2, 1, ya. Nueva ronda. 3, 2, 1, ya. Seguimos igual. 2-0. Listo, vamos de acuerdo. 3, 2, 1, ya. 2-1. De vuelta. Nueva ronda. 3, 2, 1, ya. ¿Viste? Vamos. Hacemos una última ronda, a ver qué pasa.
Dale.
¿Sí? Pónganse de acuerdo con sus compañeros.
Bueno.
3, 2, 1, ya. Estamos 2-2, hacemos desempate. ¿Sí? Piénsenla bien, vamos. Pónganse de acuerdo. Vamos. 3, 2, 1, ya.
¿Qué está pasando con
Okay. Okay, it was the brain break paper, rock and scissors. Now we have here another brain break. If you are doing a writing class or a reading class or a writing class, you can do this. That is the word reading. You pause sentence strips from a long reading around the room. Give to your students a list of questions. Give students a list of questions, and students search for the answer by going to each strip. So it allows, as I told you before, energize your class. It's not only the class where you have your students sit down sit down on their chairs and they are doing the reading or the writing sitting. No, you can energize your class with this kind of exercise. Okay, so here I have a weekend chat. This is another brain break or activity that you can do at the beginning beginning of your class, at the beginning of the week. Okay, you can print activities in past time. It could be I slept a lot, or play video games, and then you can post them on the board. This is the version when you are in a face-to-face class. So post them on the board, and then students read. They go stand up, read, and write their names under the activities they did that weekend. For instance, if a student, sorry, if the student see, I slept a lot, so they can he can write his name and write a comment. Okay, so it exists a version in a Padlet. Okay, I don't know if you know this resource, Padlet, in which you can print activities in past time. In this case, it's not print. In this case, you post activities in past time on the Padlet, and students read the post and write their names under the activities they did that weekend, and they can write a comment. Okay, this is if you continue in the virtual class, or if you are in a system class, in a system room, you can do this activity in Padlet. Okay, you can write in the, if you know this resource. Do you know this resource? This resource, Padlet? Okay. Okay, here I have selfie picture. This is one of my favorite brain break, because you can post on your you can have a post on your classroom with all the emotions that you think you need in your class. You can it's gonna be as you want. Okay, so it's selfie picture. You are in the middle of the class, you are seeing you're watching at this student that is yawning, the student that is looking at you, but it is on another planet, and you immediately say, okay, we are going to do a selfie today. So selfie now, and you choose an emotion, and you say, okay, everyone is going to be happy, or everyone is going to be ashamed, or everyone is going to be, okay, in the mood that you decide. You can do it in the classroom, or you can do it in virtual class. You see? Okay, this is one of my pictures in my classes. It is going to take 5 minutes while you say you choose the emotion, you say to the students what emotion they are going to demonstrate in their face, and you take the picture, and that's all. You can have a board with the pictures that you have taken in the whole school year, or in one semester, or as you wish. Okay. So here you have Flipgrid. It is another platform that you can use to record videos. If you are, for example, in the virtual class, in this in virtual class, you can stop your class, or at the end of the explanation of your content, you can ask a question. Okay, and they go to this platform, join in this platform, record the answer of that question, and that's all. You can check later, you can check with them some of the questions that you can choose some students to check the video with them with the rest of the class. This is one activity that you can do that is very cool to do in class when you are you finish a content, when you finish the explanation of a content, if you want to check their learning, you can do this activity. Okay, you can do oral presentations here, and you can do reading activity, because you can say to your students, please read that text, or you choose a text, read the text that you have in that page or in those page, and you say that read in front of the camera, and you can check the video later too. Okay, this brain break is another brain break that you can do in the middle of the class. You see that these students are yawning, and the students are in another planet, or the student that is looking another place, but they are not looking at you. You can do this brain break. You say, okay, students, it's time for a high five. You say, stand up and high five 7 people. That's all. They high five 7 people, and they sit down again. Okay, so it's really for energize your class. Okay, it's really quick brain break. It's a really quick brain break. So here you have this kind of exercise, as I told you, as I show you at the beginning of this part of the webinar. And this is another kind of exercise when you have to do this activity. You have to put your arm in this position, as you see here, and the other in your hand like that. And then you have to change the position. This hand has to be like that, and this like that. Okay, so you have to do it. You have to do it like that, you see? You can try. At the beginning, you have to do it slow. Once you control them, you can do it faster. You see? Okay, try. Are you trying? Let me read in the comments if you are writing. Okay. Yes, remember, once you control the movements, you can do it faster. Even you can confuse, but you have to try again, do the movement slowly, and then faster and faster, okay? Great. Excellent. This is one of the brain breaks that I like the most, because it stimulates the attention of the student, because they have to be attentive of what they are doing, and they have to control the movement, they have to control the speed, and that is really, really good, okay? Excellent. Yes, you can do it, you can do it, excellent, very good. Exactly, practice, 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 exactly, practice. And now if you are going to get involved with this information, and if you have interest in this brain breaks, you have to practice if you want to show it to your students, because you are going to show you something that you don't know. That is no sense. So please practice, practice, and get surprised to your students. Yes, you're right, Stella. Yes, it is better if when you have 2 hours of class than when you have only 1 hour. But for example, the 1 week quick brain break, like the previous one, this of here, you can do it in the middle of one class, of a class of 1 hour, because it's really quickly. You have to stand up, high five 7 people, or you can say only high five 5 people, or high five only 3 people. It depends on you, or up to your time. Okay, good. So here you have these, you can have these charts on your class, and you have to try to say the color and not read the word. So what happened here? Your right brain tries to say the color, but your left brain, left part of your brain insists on reading the word. This is another activity or brain break that you have to do with practice, okay? The first one, okay, try to do it. Don't read the, don't say the color, say the word. Don't say the color, say the color, not the word, sorry. Say the color, not the word, sorry. In this case, the word yellow is painted in green, and you have to say, what do you have to say, yellow or green? Green, exactly. So the more you practice, when you go to the third line, it is going to, you start to going faster. Excellent, Julio Solorzano, done, very good. Okay. Okay, let's pass to, okay, here I have one website in which you can find lots of these kinds of exercise, and you can adapt to your class. You have energizers and you have relax. You have relaxed activities or relaxed brain breaks. And this is a brain gymmer. In this website, you are going to find activities according to the what they stimulate. For example, in this case, this exercise train the mental flexibility. Okay, here I have I can share the link with you in a moment. Okay, I'm going to share the link with you in a moment. So you have this brain gymmer. This is, for example, when you're in a virtual class. The same with this have for virtual or for face-to-face class. And here is another example with the same website. The same website. Yes, for example, this is moving memory, improve your working memory. So you can see the exercise and what it improves. Okay, so as we are reaching the ending of this webinar, I hope that you have enjoyed this information here, that you put in practice, so that you learn here. Remember the reflection 3 to 1. Remember here you have lots of information, a lot of information about what I talked today. My webinar was based on information on these books. So here you have, if you are interested, if you want to get involved in this, in all this world of neuroscience, you can adapt your classes, and you can design strategies that is going to improve your practice, your teaching practice. So thank you. And here I have this, you can find more information here. I publish or post some content here. If you are interested, if you have interest in these topics, you can visit Instagram or some information that I post in Facebook with this name, NeuroRed Global. Okay, so thank you. I hope that you really enjoyed.
Thank you so much, dear Fanest, for this amazing webinar. And now we have some questions for you. Please, Mr. Kurt Vidlela, could you help me with the questions?
Of course, Mary. But first, I want to thank dear Fanest for your topic. It was really interesting, and you gave us a view of how the brain and the language acquisition work together. There were many questions from the audience, but we had to prioritize a few of them because of the time. So the first one is from Nancy Alvarez. She asks, how can we increase creativity and social skills now that we are returning to our face-to-face class?
Social skills
and creativity.
And creativity. Okay, so as I told you in one part of my webinar, when you take time to do these brain breaks, you can do it with in a creative way, and you can do it using some strategies to do or to improve the social skills. For example, when you use the brain break, that is when they have to work in pairs, or when they have to work in groups, like rock, paper, and scissors, it improves the social skills, and we have to take the time to do it now that we are returning to class. And creativity, because you can, as I told you, that there are lots of brain breaks, and they stimulate many things. For example, when you write with the dominant, draw a pizza with your dominant hand, and you draw a pizza in another part of the paper, you write the pizza with the non-dominant hand, you are stimulating creativity, because you don't tend to use your non-dominant hand. So you can, as I told you, there are many brain breaks that you can explore in the books that I show you at the end of this webinar. Mm-hmm.
Thanks for your response. I'm sure we're going to put the points and examples, the strategies you show us into practice.
Great.
Next question is from Maria Giovanna Champollion Pantaleon. She asked, what strategies can I use when kindergarten children cry in class?
Oh, okay. I think that the first thing is try to understand what is happening. I think that it is the best way. Try to reach what is happening, because this is the way in which they express when they are shy. So this is, I always think, and that is something that one psychologist said when I start this teaching way. She said that the best teacher must be the preschool teacher. The preschool teacher has to be the best, because yes, because it's so important that students at that time, these little boys or girls in that time, loves the place where they are learning. And the first thing I think is empathy. When you try to reach what is happening, I think that this is the way in which you have to manage the situation. Mm-hmm. And try to play with them, try to show that another students are calm down too. I think that is more about empathy. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Fanest. I have another. This time is from Rosa Caro. She asks, is there a critical period to learn a second language?
Yeah, that was one of a question that I try to reach when I investigate about bilingualism and brain. As I told you in one part of my webinar, there is not a critical period for learning a second language, but it exists a sensitive period It means that the earlier you start learning, the more you are going to improve. So it doesn't exist evidence about second language, but it exists evidence about the accent. That was that I was explaining when I said that baby, a 6-month baby, can catch the accent of any language at that period of time. After that, they lost this disability. So the answer is there are not critical periods for learning a second language.
Oh,
it's a sensitive period.
It is really interesting to know the difference between the critical period and the sensitive period. Thank you. And let's finish with this last one because we don't have much time. And you have shown us today so many break brains for relaxing and for relaxation and energizing. But in this case, Maria Angelica Guerra Albal wants to know what exercise can we practice with our students to improve their memory?
Okay. As I told you, we have three working. The working memory is divided in three parts. The first is the sensory memory. Second is the short-term memory, and then is the long-term memory. So you have to engage your students by the sense first, through the sense first. If you are teaching vocabulary, you show the vocabulary in a song, in the reading, in a movie, from another person, in an interview, in a video, okay? And you catch all the sense. Then they go to the short memory, connecting with an emotion. You can design an activity, I don't know, with a brain break. You can try to design an activity that connects your content with a brain break. We as a teacher are really creative to do that. That is no doubt of that. So once you do, you have to connect, you have connected these two things, you repeat you can repeat the activity, and the repetition is going to help students to consolidate the long-term memory, this information in the long-term memory. So this is the process. I hope that I have answered your question.
Thank you, Fanest. It was a pleasure to have you with us tonight, dear Fanest.
Thank you to you.
We would like you to invite you to stay a little bit with us because we have some things to do.
Okay. Thank you, all of you, for your participation, for being here today. That is Friday.
Thank you, Fanest. Thank you, Kurt. Please stay with us some minutes more. It's time to know what we have for tomorrow's session. And we have to, Elmer Quispe, teacher Quispe, are you there? Can you share the invitation for tomorrow's webinar, please?
I'm here.
Okay, good. Go ahead.
Okay, Miss Mariela, let's continue. ¿Se ve mi cámara o no?
Yes, we can see. Está bien la cámara, está perfecta. Lo podemos ver, teacher.
Hello, everyone, dear English teachers in Peru. Good evening. It's a great pleasure to be with you, dear team. Nice to meet you, Miss Fanest Coronado. Congratulations for this excellent and very important webinar. Happy for this unique moment. Thanks a lot. Good. Thanks for being English language teachers and technology summer webinar series. Nurturing creativity in today's classroom by Patricia Arbona. In this webinar, we will First point, to show teachers how to teach their students to be more curious thinkers and to help them develop their own creativity as educators. Second point, to encourage students to feel comfortable trying new strategies and learning from mistakes. Don't miss these amazing webinars for English language teachers, Saturday, 12 at 6 p.m. 2022, Perú. Así que, estimadas y estimados English teachers en Perú, los esperamos el día de mañana a las 6:00 de la tarde. Ajib Yudapaz, Miss Mariela, thank you very much.
I'm sorry, I have some problem here. It's raining in Puno. Can you hear me? Yes?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you so much, Fanest. Elmer, I'm not sure if you did all the invitation. Ok, en todo caso, continúo yo. Bien, estimados maestros, los invitamos a todos, como ya les comentó el maestro Elmer, para el día de mañana tenemos con Miss Arbona un excelente webinar, un core skill que vamos a abordar, que es la creatividad, que no es muy fácil de conseguir en nuestros estudiantes, y el día de mañana vamos a poder aprender muchas estrategias para ello, así que están invitados todos ustedes a poder participar de nuestro webinar. Y ahora sí, vamos a continuar con lo que muchos han estado esperando, pero recordemos que tenemos una ruta en el webinar que siempre se debe de respetar, también la exposición completa y todo ello para que puedan ustedes llenar el exit ticket de manera que también puedan responder las preguntas de forma correcta, porque hay preguntas dentro del exit ticket y es necesario para poder considerar su asistencia a este webinar. Ahora sí los dejo con el exit ticket y Mr. David Cuadras.
Okay, hello again, everybody. Okay, so we have the exit ticket for tonight. First, please, Miss Fanest Coronado, I loved your presentation. Thank you so much. Okay,
thank you.
Again, let's switch in Spanish. Okay, el exit ticket va a estar disponible solo por 15 minutos, así que atentos a todos. La primera es https://cutt.li o catlib, como le dicen algunos, /etip, la E mayúscula, T mayúscula, I minúscula, P mayúscula, la W mayúscula, para que diga webinar, y el número 10, seguido de las letras T, H en minúscula. Muy bien, recuerden que este link va a estar habilitado solo por 15 minutos, y después de los 15 minutos nos vamos corriendo para saludar a Miss Mayra, que está de cumpleaños. Miss Marie, continuamos con usted. No la escuchamos, Miss Marie.
Estoy aquí sin luz, así que creo que solo pueden ver una parte de mí. Pero vamos a continuar para finalizar este webinar, no sin antes agradecer al excelente equipo humano, líderes de la comunidad de English Teachers en Perú, a todos los administradores. El día de hoy tenemos un saludo súper especial a nuestra administradora, Mayra Drey Rengifo, que debe de estar pasando un lindo cumpleaños al lado de sus seres queridos colegas. Todos, por favor, administradores, querida Fanest, encendemos las camaritas para poder despedirnos el día de hoy. Si encendemos las camaritas, vamos a despedirnos. Espero que Ya está. Oh, Mayrita está ahí, no, para el cumpleaños, seguramente festejando. Muchísimas gracias por estar ahí presente. Querida Fanest, a nombre de toda la comunidad de English Teachers in Perú, queremos darte este fuerte aplauso, todos los administradores, por el excelente trabajo, por la excelente ponencia del día de hoy. Información importante, interesante. Muchas veces nos abocamos a ver el tema de contenidos, conocimiento, y tan importante que es ver cómo es que hoy en día la neurociencia está relacionada a todo el proceso de aprendizaje que nosotros desarrollamos, y es de gran ayuda el poder conocerla, ¿no? Muchísimas gracias, querida Fanest, a nombre de toda la comunidad. Tal vez algunas palabras para la despedida. ¿Algún mensaje de despedida, querida Fanest? Me siento un fantasma que va y viene con mi imagen. Algunas palabras de despedida para la audiencia.
Bueno, la verdad, darle las gracias a ustedes por la oportunidad de poder compartir esta información, de poder experimentar junto a ustedes todo este auge que viene del tema de neurociencias, cómo se va metiendo poco a poco en nuestras clases, ahora más que nunca, ¿no? Después de la pandemia. Entonces, pues sí, tener, como ustedes mismos dijeron, un poco más de empatía con esos niños que vienen de casa, no sabemos las experiencias que traen. Y bueno, muchísimas gracias a todos de nuevo. Un placer para mí.
Muchas gracias, gracias a ti también. Un aplauso una vez más realmente por este maravilloso webinar. Más de casi, creo, 500 teachers que han estado por ahí conectados, 450, 500 teachers que han estado conectados, muy atentos. Muchísimas gracias. Un abrazo a nuestra querida Marita una vez más. Todos le mandamos ahí un súper corazón para que pase un lindo cumpleaños el día de hoy. Nuestros mejores deseos. Y seguramente de parte de todos los maestros también de nuestra comunidad. Nos despedimos el día de hoy, Mr. David Cuadros, que ha estado con nosotros en la presentación y el exit ticket, Mr. Elmer Quispe, que ha estado con nosotros para la invitación del día de mañana. Teacher Elmer, muchas gracias. Mr. Kurt Vilela, que ha estado con nosotros en la ronda de preguntas. Miss Mayrita Drey Ríos Rengifo, que hoy día es la cumpleañera, nuestra querida administradora. Miss Gina Evelyn Soplopuco, que está ahí con nosotros también, a Teacher José Ortega, que está detrás de toda la transmisión, y una vez más el agradecimiento, la despedida de nuestra querida Fanest Coronado, que ha estado el día de hoy en este webinar. Bye, bye, teachers.